this episode of An American Entrepreneur, we are visiting Dallas's #1 cigar lounge of 2025. The owner, Tony Ashby, will share the story of his journey and the do's and don'ts of starting and running a cigar lounge. Make no mistake, the beginnings of his lounge is humble, but always remember, many of the largest businesses in the world had humble beginnings. So come check it out. All right, Tony, how's it going, man?
Hey, Curtis, how you doing?
Taking some time off. I know today's your day off, and showing us your amazing lounge here.
Thank you.
Show us around. Let us check it out here.
Well, welcome to El Jefe Cigar Lounge. This is our main seating area over here. We have sports, cigar content in this area. We sit here, network, fellowship on this side over here, and on this side we have some overflow. This is our overflow, so mostly everybody can fit over there, but sometimes we'll have a lot more people on this side, so this is our overflow. And we have a stage here as well, and sometimes we have different types of entertainment here as well, spoken word. This weekend we had an art show, a 3-day art show by Mark Lee. And this is some of his work that's left over, but he sold mostly all of his work this weekend. So, but yeah, this is my other area over here, my / office. I just love this quaint little area over here. We play chess, and this is another little area over here that we just recently added on this side.
So are you a chess player?
I am.
Pretty good.
But if you wanna win at chess, you always play me. So that's what I always tell people.
Well, so I'll figure maybe that if it's a client of yours, you let them win and make them feel good and come back.
Definitely. Well, this is our liquor cabinet for our members. Our members are able to put their liquor cabinet here, their liquors in this cabinet, and this is a barrel that Suti Distillery in Kennedale. We do partnerships with a lot of distilleries, local distilleries, and they blended our own bourbon. So in February, this one will be ready again for El Jefe bourbon. So This is the barrel for El Jefe. And on this side, we have our members area over here. So if our members want to, just get away, do some work, they come over to this side. This is their side. They have their own refrigerator, TV, ice machine, their own little island away from everybody. So, and I was blessed to have pretty much a large space to be able to do this. But yeah, I love this area over here as well too. So let me show you our humidor. So I used to just have cabinets, but now within my second year, I built this walk-in humidor. So that's, for the help, with the help of my clientele, we were able to build this humidor here. So we are basically fresh hand-rolled cigars rolled locally by William Cigars and Faustino Cigars. And whatever profile that our members or our clientele like, I can always guide them and educate them on certain profiles and things like that. Now, if they're not used to just fresh hand roll, we do have some boutique cigars and more premium high-end cigars for those who just want to smoke at Bandit Cigars. But Williams is a staple here in Dallas. He has a factory in the middle of Dallas. And so that's our business model, fresh hand-rolled cigars, And we also have the El Jefe cigar. The El Jefe cigar is made by Mayfin Cigar, which is another local. They're out of Austin, and we just built a really great relationship. And they asked me if I would like to blend my own cigar, and they gave me the opportunity that I'm truly blessed to have an exclusive cigar here for El Jefe Cigars.
That's these right here.
Mm-hmm. So we have the 6.5 by 56 gauge, and we also have the Bahique size, which is a 54 gauge by 4 inch. So very tasty cigar.
Okay, are these full blend or
Yeah, so the El Jefe
mild?
cigar is it's a full body, but it smokes like a medium. It is a medio Sumatran with a Nicaraguan Cadiga binder and a Nicaraguan Omotempe filler. So if anybody knows about Omotempe, it is a sacred plant that grows in the middle of Nicaragua on the island. It's a huge mountain that sits in the middle of this huge lake in the middle of Nicaragua, and it's a sacred plant. So they have access to that particular tobacco, and this one here has a very well blended, Omotempe filler. So it's an excellent cigar. Sweet, espresso, dark chocolate, slight little pepper, but very silky. I call it silky. But yeah.
So we're gonna fire up some cigars.
We're gonna fire up some cigars.
So what do you recommend?
Yes. So
I'm a guy. I don't like full bodied.
Oh.
It kind of knocks me out a little. What would you recommend? Something really mild.
Yeah. So I would recommend the Connecticut cigar. So the Connecticut cigar is basically, it's the foundational cigar. So it has a very light color. So we call this a Claro or Connecticut. But this one here is a Nicaraguan filler with a Connecticut wrapper. It is a mild cigar, so even the aficionados, or the beginners or the aficionados, this right here is a great tasting, earthy, creamy, nutty cigar that is very low as far as the nicotine content and very smokable. So we always start the beginners off with a Connecticut because it is a mild cigar.
Well, I'm not a complete beginner.
Yeah.
I smoke about 4 or 5 cigars a year.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Which, that doesn't make me an aficionado, but I'm going to try something like this mild then, I think.
Awesome. Yes, I think the Connecticut would be great for you. So I'll grab this and we'll go and chop it up.
All right.
All
right, Tony, so let's fire these cigars up here real quick.
Let's do
I got
it.
my torch, man.
You have your torch?
Yeah, whatever you call it.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to do a soft flame.
Yeah, show us about that.
So traditionally, a lot of cigar smokers and aficionados, they like using a soft flame. It burns a little lighter, about 800 to 900 degrees, and the torch burns about 1200 degrees. So one is more lighting, and the other one is more like torching the tobacco. So to get a nice even smoke, we use a soft flame. So I have the soft flame here, but also I'm going to use cedar as well. So the cedar is going to infuse into the cigar. And I see that you're doing that pretty well, sir.
Thanks a lot, man, for a semi-amateur. I did go through a period about maybe 10 years ago where I started smoking a lot of cigars, and I finally said, you know what, I got to give this up.
Oh, man. Well, welcome back to the fold, my friend. Welcome back to the fold.
Well, man, I love your lounge here. As I mentioned to you before, from the road, it doesn't look like much.
Right.
It really doesn't. And you've been told that before, but when you come inside, it's just totally amazing. The ambiance in here, and it's just so classy.
Wow, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Curtis. Yeah, a lot of people think. Sorry about that. I had to get that nice little extra in there. A lot of people think we're a speakeasy, and that's the new thing that's going on in the community. Speakeasies, from cocktail lounges to cigar lounges.
Well, how did you get inspired in the first place to start your own business?
Well, I just had this real epiphany. I've always had an entrepreneurial thorn in me. So I just said to myself, when the time is right, I'll go ahead and do it. But I was more secure with my job, and I wasn't really looking out forward. So when it got to a point to where I was like, I wanted to do something that I enjoy doing, looking at different examples like Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Jay-Z, and a lot of other different entrepreneurials who just went out and did it. They executed their dream. So I said to myself one day, I think I'm gonna start a cigar lounge. you know.
Were you contemplating a different kind of business, or did you somehow just decide, hey, I really like this concept, this idea, and you went for it?
Well, I think the thing is that you got to do something that you love doing.
So you were already totally loving cigars.
I was getting into cigars. I didn't really enjoy it, you know. I didn't have it as a lifestyle at the time. But I was with one of my bosses in Las Vegas, and we finished the steak, and he's like, I'm going to the cigar lounge. Who wants to go with me? So I raised my hand, and let me tell you, when I went into the cigar lounge, a light went on. You know.
What was it you think that really attracted you?
I said that
Was it the camaraderie, the laid backness, the ambiance,
the
people? Okay,
it was the people. The lounge brought the people, like-minded people, into the same place, and let me tell you, people were so giving, you know, in the cigar lounge. I went there. They didn't know me. They were like, you know, hey, try this, drink that. Here's this, here's that. What do you do? They wanted to know about you, and I just saw this community in this lounge, and right then and there, I knew what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to open up a cigar lounge.
Well, what were you doing before you opened a cigar lounge?
Well, I was doing property acquisitions with Walmart. I worked for Daisy Brand as an account executive. You know, I was making a lot of money for, you know, a lot of people. And I just wanted to do something that I enjoyed doing, but still make, you know, some type of living. And I thought cigars was the thing to do. Again, just went to work one day and just had this epiphany at my desk. And I was like, I think I'm gonna do the cigar thing, you know? So,
well, how did you go about the planning of it?
oh, well,
I guess
that
you went
was
to a
fun.
lot of different lounges, kind of taking notes, what you liked, what you didn't like.
Yeah, so that was really fun. I just decided to, you know, do my little research, you know. I just looked at what I can do and learn from them. So what I did was quit my job, and I just decided that if I'm gonna do this, I have to downgrade on a lot of things, you know. So I started working for different cigar lounges, you know. I wasn't making the money I was making, so I changed my lifestyle.
So these are the sacrifices you made to start your own business.
Most
well, tell us
definitely.
more about your sacrifices that
So
you did.
part of those sacrifices that I did, Curtis, is that I didn't eat out. I had to be unsecure, you know, living paycheck to paycheck. But one thing that helped me out, one thing I think, if I had a family, I probably wouldn't have jumped in the deep end like I did. I mean, it was very spontaneous what I did, that sacrifice. So, but yeah, I just had to change my lifestyle, start working for different cigar lounges, learning the business, being humble, just to sit there and learn and be quiet and just look at the community. So,
Well, how long did you work for these other lounges?
4 years.
Really?
Yeah, I worked for 4 different lounges, and within four years, and then COVID happened, so that put a halt on a lot of things. I got stuck in North Carolina. Me and my brother were supposed to open a cigar lounge in North Carolina at the time, and I stayed in North Carolina for a year. And once they started easing up on the COVID, I decided to come back to Dallas. So during that time, I went back to working for another cigar lounge. And while I was going to work, I saw this place. So that's how the road started. And again, but it took 4 years. It wasn't overnight. I used my own money. Pulled everything that I could. I was working with investors before, but it didn't work out, you know, but I learned a lot. So if I decide to work with investors again, I'll know how to, you know, navigate that road.
You have a lot of bosses when you're working for investors, it seems like. A lot of people have their opinions, and when you own it outright, you do everything exactly the way you want to do it.
And that's the beauty of it. I just enjoy, I think because of my knowledge in the business, because I took time to learn the business, a lot of investors in this particular business, they just wanted to use it as a, a place where their friends can go. Oh, I have a cigar lounge. It was like
Right,
that.
more
It
of
was
an ego thing.
It was an
isn't
ego
it?
thing to add to their portfolio. I'm doing it because I love it, and it's a business that I enjoy. So I just think that for something, a business like this, I call it, it's a confection item. It's an item that no one, we enjoy this. So it's kind of hard to convince an investor this is something that's going to make you a lot of money.
So when did you start this business?
So I started this business in, well, El Jefe Cigars, it's been an LLC since 2018. I actually started a brick and mortar because I was doing, in between the time I had a brick and mortar, I was doing events and quinceañeras, parties, and I would have a table and I would have my roller with me, Mario. I have Mario with me, and he will be rolling and I will be educating people at these events. So I was doing things before I had the brick and mortar, but after that, I got the building in April of 2022. Yeah, in 2022, I didn't finish. It took me 47 days. So I had my soft open in August and did my grand opening on my birthday, which is
that's cool.
September. So it kind of worked
Gave
out
a
right.
birthday present to
Yeah.
yourself, huh?
Yes. But the longest thing was the permitting. The Dallas permitting was a challenge.
How long did you look for a space? But what are some of the things you were looking for? And
So-
what would you advise someone to look for?
So I was looking every day. So of course, location. So I was looking every day when I was going to and from work to the grocery store. I was looking at every space. So every empty space I was looking, But in this particular case, I just saw this building and something told me just pull over and, call the number that's on the building. And I called the number and I was talking directly to the property owner. It's a little different when you talk to the property owner
an
instead
agent,
of the property manager.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what you want. And I'm telling you, I was blessed enough to actually speak to the gentleman. And right then and there, I gave him my LOI. And he was like, "You want to do it now?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, send it to me." And I just sent it to him in a PDF, my letter of intent. And he was like, "Okay, I got it." And I asked him, "Can I do a walkthrough the next day?" He was like, "Sure, all right, I'll get with my property manager and we'll make it happen." And I'm telling you, the first time I walked through that door, I knew what I wanted because it was just a blank slate.
So it took you 47 days, was it, you said,
Yeah,
to get
it
this
took
place
me,
put together?
It took me 47 days. I did everything myself except for the lighting. I had a master electrician help me with the chandeliers, and I don't mess with electricity. But because I did everything out of my pocket, I just decided to do everything myself, save me a little bit of money. I just started from ground up, started with the floors, the walls, and I thought it would be easy. But let me tell you, it was like, but once you do it, once you get into it and you do it, you just have to keep on,
Yeah.
There's no turning back.
Did you see pictures? Did you look on the internet, or did you travel around as you traveled, go to different lounges? I mean, what made you decide on this field here?
So in this journey, when I decided to go ahead and do a cigar lounge and have cigars in my life, I started planning from day one. At my desk, when I decided the next day I was going to quit and do cigars, from that day, I planned it all out. I looked at color schemes and furniture and how to do it this way, that way. I started on day one. So when I walked through the door, when I came through here, it was already in my head of how I was going to do the color palettes. I knew I wanted something comfortable. I knew I wanted something a little bit rustic, I wanted something old. I wanted something truly a cigar lounge experience.
You bought a lot of secondhand stuff, and I would
Yes.
imagine too that saved you a lot of money.
It did, it did. And again, I did that, everything was for a reason because again, I was dealing with very limited funds, but I knew what it took to make a cigar lounge work. Again, that's through experience and working in different cigar lounges. So once I understood the culture and the business, I knew that it wasn't going to take me, let's say, 200 grand to do a cigar lounge. It took some money, but it wasn't going to take me an exuberant amount, which I was looking for, because a lot of my investments were 1.2 million, 2.3 million dollar ventures, you know. But since I was doing it out of my pocket, it was like, okay, I did my budget. This is what I can do with this, bam, 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 and I just made it work. You know.
Did you stay in your budget?
I did not.
Yeah, usually, yeah. I just was curious if you were able to.
I did not. Actually, I had to cut back on a lot of things, and you know, because one thing I didn't put into that was rentals for equipment. You know, because I had to do the floors, so I had to grind the floors down very flat. You know, this is concrete flooring. So in order for me to get the flooring the way I wanted, I had to borrow, well, go to Home Depot and
Rent one
get
of those
this,
grinders
rent,
or
rent a lot of
sanders, whatever.
equipment. And it, you know, renting was a lot. So now I know it's better for me to hire somebody to do projects like that, huge projects like that.
Because they're in and out.
It's because they're in and out. They already have the equipment. It took me more on the renting. It cost me more on the renting. And I did the budget afterwards. I could have paid somebody to do that.
Tell us about your revenue streams here.
Yeah. So, well, in this business, you have to have something to help support your cigar sales. You know, that is your bread and butter. However, in this culture, you know, you got to have cutters, you got to have lighters, you got to have, you know, humidors and things like that. So those little revenue streams help boost your cigar sales, especially as a small business. So the first 2 years, it was a struggle. It was a struggle, but I always been, you know, I tell people it's perseverance. If you can stay with it and wait to that next day, you know, something is going to happen in your favor. But if you quit that next day, that blessing may come 2 days after or 3 days after, and you already quit.
Well, it takes time for people to know you exist.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, what licenses here in Texas do you have to have a business like this?
Well, you have to have
Besides
several.
the DBA license, but
Yeah.
because it's tobacco, and I know, and then you have certain liqueurs and stuff in here.
Right. So I'm a BYOB, so I don't have to deal with liquor licenses. So my clientele just bring their own. I just supply them with glass services and things like that. I think it's very easy. I like it that way, you know, liability reasons and things like that. But my customers get the benefit of not paying $30 a drink, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's something that's another conundrum that I'm battling, you know, in this industry. People rather go to a bar and pay the $30 than come to a BYOB. Some of the licenses you do have to have is your tobacco license, your tobacco retail license, your sales tax license. If you're going to be a huge distributor, you have to have a wholesale distributor license. So again, doing your due diligence, knowing what you need, you know, as far as those licenses go, is very important.
Challenges of having a cigar lounge, and then how do you deal with those challenges?
Well, I believe one of the biggest challenges that I have since I opened up is really, you know, getting the, I shouldn't say, it's not a message, but it's letting people know that I'm here, you know. There's certain things that I can afford as far as marketing, but social media has helped me very well, but word of mouth is the best. It's the best piece of source that, you know, that lets people know about El Jefe. It's the word of mouth. It's their experience. I've done well on Google. Google has me up there, you know. So usually when you Google El Jefe or Cigar Lounge in Dallas, I usually come up first.
Well, you won Dallas Best Cigar Lounge for 2025. Congratulations.
Oh, man, that is, let me tell you.
Did that bring in some new customers, new clients?
It has.
Really? Well,
It kind of put a stamp on it. So it was great when I did my anniversary. I was able to announce to the clientele, the members, everyone who came out to celebrate the anniversary, that we won that award, and that meant so much to me. It meant so much to my clientele and the people that came here during that evening. It just solidified, you know, that what I'm doing, people like, you know.
Well, what are some items that you would do differently, knowing what you know now, that you would do differently when you first started?
One thing I probably would like to do over is, you know, learning more about the finance part of it, you know.
This is your first business.
This is my first business. This is my first business, and I have background in marketing, you know, but to educate myself more on the financial part of it, you know, just doing, you know, the taxes, you know, I have to stay on top of that, you know, and just learning how to better manage and the flow of your inventories and things like that. So I've coordinated that very well, but I wish I had put a little bit more emphasis on the admin part of it. You know, the regular physical part of it, I have that down pat. You know, it's just because I have so much on my plate, and I'm trying to find how to better streamline the admin part of it. You know, because it's very important. And now I've decided to have people help me, and that was a lot. That's.
Do you have a bookkeeper?
So now I do.
Or CPA that does your taxes in the year, and
now
it's kind
I
of
do.
you're learning a lot through them, because
Yes,
not only
I am.
a CPA, in my view,
yeah.
should not be someone that just do your taxes, but guides you, help you, and help advise you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so they're an asset, you know.
Well, so one of the things, again, when you do it as a small business and when you're doing it yourself, you have to, prioritize your funds. Everything I do, if I spend money on it, I have to have an immediate return. That's one of my understood rules, is that I spend money to get money. So when I spend any type of funds, I know that's important, but maybe, I probably need to buy 30 more cigars, because that's going to give me that immediate return on that. And I'll keep on pushing it down the line. That was the first year, So that second year, I decided hey, I need help, So by getting that help, my business and my numbers are better, and it's just the growth part of it. And I've been blessed, with the type of business that I have coming in, partnerships I developed. I'm able to, sustain, maintain, and grow profit-wise, Am I rolling around getting yachts and,
You will
Bugattis
eventually,
and
because
things
you're going to
like
have
that?
a chain
No.
of these, man.
That's the goal.
Oh yeah,
That's the goal.
What are your plans 3 to 5 years from now?
So what's
or
disappointing?
5 to 10.
You know what's disappointing to me? When some people come to me, or they're in this industry, it's a one stop and it's over. I think about legacy, So El Jefe is a brand. I think I've done really well branding El Jefe.
How'd you come up with El Jefe?
Well, I've always, I'm the smallest guy growing up, through elementary, junior high, high school, but I've always been a leader. So people gravitated towards me because I had that trait, even in the military, I was in the Navy, and even in boot camp, during my tenure in the Navy, I've always been a leader. I always had rank. I always was chosen to lead people. So, yeah, I was I was always the boss. Even in my corporate career, I was always the boss. I always wanted to learn, so I didn't have to ask anybody anything or be told to do anything. I never wanted to really be told to do anything. So I learned other people's jobs. So I was like, yeah, something cigar centric, Spanish, the boss, Jefe.
That's
So
cool, man. I
that's
didn't know
how
what it
got
meant.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to ask before we move on about the inventory, how do you keep track of which cigars are really selling to make sure you've got plenty of that in inventory?
Once you install your numbers in your POS system, the way they have it now, it's your inventory keeper.
So you have a button that you can push for
Right.
every cigar you sell.
Right. So every time you get your inventory in, you have to adjust
Right.
for that inventory. It is meticulous.
Gives you a good
but it's
dashboard of
necessary.
what you're selling and
Yes,
all that. That's
yes.
good.
Looking at the analytics that they provide us helps me out on that. Plus, I'm here. I'm the sole, employee. So I know what sells. I know what my customer wants. I know what my customer is asking for.
You know what your regulars like.
I know what my regulars like. I always keep those in stock. But it's a symbiotic operation as well, because without William or Jose or some of the other distributors that I work with, without them, because my business model is different from your typical cigar lounge, because I have fresh hand rolled cigars, and my business model is not created off of banded or branded cigars. So it depends on their inventory as well, because they have a lot of customers that buy up all of their inventory, because their inventory is my inventory.
Right, yeah.
So, but I've been blessed to have a relationship with those two guys here in Dallas that they keep me pretty well stocked. And the way my business is modeled, I don't have to worry about having huge inventory, and that's what keeps my expenses low as well.
Right, you're not overstocking.
Exactly.
So what point of sale system are you using?
So I use Clover, and that system, I chose that system because it allows me to sell tobacco. Some processing services, financial services, they don't really, have a relationship with tobacco. All right. So I was on Square at first, and got off of Square because they wouldn't process some of the transactions of tobacco. So I worked with Clover for the last 2 years. And now, yeah, you have to worry about, some of the, service fees and things like that. But I believe that Clover pretty much supplies me with all the tools that I need to actually run my business efficiently, and that allows me to run it effectively. So now that I have all the analytics and all the tools that help me keep track of the inventory, it's pretty seamless. It's pretty seamless. So,
Okay. What are some of the advice you would give people that were contemplating on starting a cigar lounge?
learn the business. Just because you may have a lot of the cigar lounge owners and we get together sometimes, and we talk about that. So there's a lot of people who want to do it because they have the funds to do it, but they tend to lose or tend to go out of business within the first 8 to 10 months. And that's because they don't know the business.
For example?
For example, getting cigars, actually having the inventory, building those relationships with other cigar owners who actually provide the cigars to your lounge. It's about relationships. And, if they don't feel comfortable with your cigar lounge culture, they don't put their cigars in there.
'Cause that's a reflection of their cigar.
Exactly, exactly. So a lot of people can't get accounts, and if they can't get accounts, they have to buy it retail. So you're not making any money buying it at retail. You need that wholesale, um, purchase, you know, and that's how you make your money, through that wholesale pricing that we get as cigar lounge owners, you know, with that license.
Are there quantity discounts?
There is,
There are.
there
Okay,
is, there is. Most people who get into this business don't understand that, you know. So if you get a certain account that's really known, you have to fall into a certain category. You have to make a certain amount of money. You have to buy a certain amount of boxes before they even allow you to get in. Now you can
would that be like your Monte Cristo, Macanudos, Patrons?
No, not necessarily them. Let's say more of your well-known cigars, you know. So the Monte Cristos, they have several different. It's like owned by a huge company like General Cigars. You know, General may own Monte Cristo, all those other brands, you know. But if you go into like your more popular cigars, boutique cigars like Crown Heads or Crux or Luciano, you have to, you know, make a certain amount of money, buy a certain amount of boxes to even get them put in there. Drew Estate, you know, for an example. They will give you an account, but you can't get the ones that are selling off the shelf, you know. So the cigars that I have in there right now, I don't have to sell those. So when I deal with boutique cigars, and there's a lot of cigars out there that, you know, that come here that want me to put their cigars in my lounge, but they don't support me as a lounge owner in selling their cigars because I have to sell those to move them off the shelf. If I just buy their cigars, I'm just giving them money. I'm not making money, you know. So it takes them to help the cigar lounge owner out. Now, if I put, like, say for instance, Tatuaje in there, I don't have to sell it because people know about Tatuaje. People know about My Father. People know about Monte Cristo. Now, I choose certain cigars, Bandit cigars, for that reason. I don't have to sell it.
Does anyone ever bring you cigars? I hate using the word consignment, but do you ever get someone to say, look, you don't have to buy them, but as you sell them, pay me and I'll bring you more?
There's been opportunities for that, but I don't really.
Something you want to not get into.
Yeah.
It must not be a good cigar, huh?
Right. Well, with cigars, people have their personal preference. You know, you may not like the cigar, but I may love it. You know, it may be. It's just that if it's all about branding. You know, people have done really good job on branding. Now, if you like the cigar, that's an extra plus. But if you have a Monte Cristo in here, you know, people are going to look at that brand and say, bam, that's a good cigar. But it may be a terrible cigar to me,
Right.
you know. But I know because that Monte Cristo, it's going to sell. It's going to sell. So when I do with private label or more boutique cigars.
What's a boutique cigar?
So boutique cigars are cigars that, you know, they are not internationally known. They're known nationally, but they're very small, small companies. But I love boutique cigars
because it's small business. You're
small
supporting
business,
small business.
the love that they put in their cigar blends are awesome.
When I buy coffee, I always go to these little small local-owned coffee shops, never the national coffee shops. I just love supporting small business.
Small business. The love is still there, you know. Sometimes when they get big, it kind of goes away because now it's about productivity, you know. It's about how much we need to put out to meet the demand. So the quality goes down. Cuba, the quality goes down.
Right. Well, tell us about the demographic of your typical clientele that comes in here.
Well,
I guess this is all walks of life, isn't it?
Most definitely. I've intentionally made my lounge to where it's diverse. You know, some lounges you go into, you may have one demographic, you may have another demographic. I really don't like that. And in cigar lounges, it's normally not like that at all anyway, you know. Again, cigar lounges is where this is the common denominator, and everybody is just brothers and sisters. But you do have some lounges that cater to just one demographic, and that can be male or female, black, white, Chinese, Asian, Puerto Rican, whatever, you know. But I've intentionally made my lounge to where everyone is invited. Now, I don't have a dress code, but I do have a dress code, if you understand.
What would you forbid? Someone coming in with workout gym shorts and...
It depends.
Or
It
have
depends.
you ever had to turn anyone away?
Yeah, oh, most definitely, most definitely. Sometimes, you know.
You got to keep an atmosphere that's conducive.
Right, because El Jefe is a brand,
Right.
you know. So, you know, like I think slides are really in now. Those slippers, they shower shoes and house slippers to me. Now, they may say, oh, this lady, she has sandals on. Well, those are sandals. Those are lady sandals. I'm not going to allow you to have slippers in my cigar lounge because I'm kind of keeping a standard, you know,
Yeah, right.
of
Definitely understandable.
because this is a panache lifestyle. It was mainly for the rich back in the day, you know. Not everybody could afford this, so I want to maintain that standard, you know. In most places, you have to have a suit and tie on to go into their cigar lounge, you know. But yeah, I have a dress code, but I don't have a dress code. I just want people to come in looking presentable. You don't have to dress up like me, or you know, people can still wear shorts. They can wear sweats, but it has to be presentable. You know, not smelly or anything like that. So I do have certain standards for El Jefe Cigars. You know.
Do you have like a minimum when people come in here? Because this other place I forgot to mention, that to go smoke in their lounge, you had to buy the cigar, which I understand. So you bought a cigar and you smoked in their lounge. You couldn't just bring a cigar from your house and walk in there.
Right.
Do you have minimums like that?
Yes. So each lounge have their specific do's and don'ts. I call it etiquette. You know. Now, it behooves me. It sometimes bewilders me when people come into a lounge and don't patronize. They just come and sit and smoke their own. Now, that's disrespectful to the owner of a business. You know, where can you go and just bring your own
Watch
food
TV,
and watch TV,
yeah.
enjoy your AC and things like that? So, I'm helping changing the mindset of some new cigar smokers or people who enjoy smoking the cigars, because I have experienced, you know, people who just come into the lounge and just expect to smoke their own and not patronize the business. So I have to educate them on the etiquette of the universal etiquette.
Because they may not really realize it,
Right, they may not.
So you approach it. That's a good way to approach it. This is what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and I do approach it in a different way. I had, since I own my own business, I've learned how to communicate that better. You know, and it's all through education. You know, so I would have to tell people, you know, in this business, because I am small business, I have to have a minimum. You know, in order to sustain business operations. Now, if I was a corporate company, I don't have to worry about that because I'm a multi-million-dollar company, and if you smoke a cigar, or if you don't smoke a cigar, that's cool.
Move the needle.
I'm good.
Right, yeah.
They're still good. You know, they have a bar and all this other kind of stuff, food and things like that. But as a small business, we have to be mindful of, you know, letting people know we do have a minimum. You know, and that's not true with all cigar lounges, but most cigar lounges, they're gonna, you know, ask you to purchase a cigar. You know, so most of the times the business owner will let you know their standards, the etiquette of that lounge. Now, with El Jefe Cigars, we do have a 2 cigar minimum, but you can smoke whatever you want to smoke as long as you patronize. You know, let's say I have a $20 minimum. You know, as long as you spend $20, I don't care how you spend it. You spend $20, you can come into El Jefe. So it's $20 to even get through that door. But as far as cigars, because this is a cigar lounge, I require 2 cigar minimum. This is a place I think I built for escapism, you know, build relationships. But those who just choose to, well, you know, what's your cheapest cigar? I said, I don't have cheap cigars at all.
And you're the reason why.
Right.
I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, it's like
I had to up some prices because of
Yeah,
a particular person. You know, I had to up my prices, man. You know, just to.
how about trying a cigar that you really like
Right.
versus just the cheapest cigar? Well, we didn't actually finish this question of what are your long-term plans.
Oh, yeah,
What are
I'm
some
sorry.
things you want to accomplish in this business here?
Yeah. So I'm all about legacy, and the way to do that for me is to really work on the brand of El Jefe. And again, I think I've done really well with this so far within the 3 years.
And you've got your own blend cigars
I have my
now.
own blend cigars. I'm telling you, thanks to Mayfin Cigars out of Austin, we built a really great relationship, and they just offered this opportunity, this grand opportunity to have my own cigar. And we have a lot of plans for it, but that's propelled me as well. So branding is pivotal to the next step is, you know, having some market share, you know, growing. It's all about legacy for me, you know. I want to have El Jefe in Dallas, in Austin, Houston, North Carolina,
And you will.
Midwest.
I have
you
no
know?
doubt.
Yeah, those are my long-term plans, and I can build this anywhere. And I really think that people will gravitate towards this type of experience. I have no doubt in that. It's just that once you build the foundation, and if you're really serious about it, that dream, that concept will grow in other places if you maintain the brand. And that's another thing with me as far as legacy goes, is getting the right people. That's why I can hire somebody, you know, I can hire somebody. But I want that person that is truly into cigars, a tobacconist, someone who runs the business like it's their business, because I'm gonna pay them well.
This business, in so many ways, it's hospitality. And it takes a special personality person to understand, I'm here to serve you today.
Yes.
When you walk in that door. Not
Yes.
look up and just, you know, it's...
Chris, you said the right
yeah.
word. It's service, and this is a luxury item. You know, not everybody can afford this. You know, and I recognize that. And the people that usually enjoy this lifestyle, they have the residual income to enjoy this lifestyle. I just want them to sit down and escape whatever problems or whatever successes they have. I want them to really reflect on that while they're sitting down smoking their cigars. Cigars is about time and about release. So every 15 minutes I'm asking if they want more ice in their glass. I'm emptying ashtrays, you know, asking them if they're okay, how's their smoking experience. You know, just not just overcrowding them, you know, because they want their
Just let 'em know
space too.
you're there for them.
Exactly.
You're there to serve them. It's hospitality.
Exactly.
What kind of events do you have here, and why do you have those kinds of events here? And the reason why I say why do you have those kinds of events here, I would think whatever event you would have would be really conducive to bringing cigar smokers.
Yes. So, you know, even when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to have a club. Just growing up, I do remember that. I didn't know I was going to have a cigar lounge, but I knew when I was smaller I wanted a club, and I wanted entertainment because my whole family is into music, and I'm a music lover of all genres.
And by the way, you usually have jazz playing
Yes.
in the background, but we can't have it because you two will
Right.
flag me of
Right.
royalty and
Yeah, it's
Copyright.
You know, yes, it's always jazz here, and that's for several reasons. One, I'm a lover of jazz, and
Well, it's a
two,
very relaxing
It's
music.
relaxing. It pairs very well with your cigar experience. pairs very well, and it also kind of modulates, you know, people's conversations, people's interactions, to where the volume is low, to where, you know, they don't speak on the phone loud or anything like that. Because I do ask them to put their, you know, their headphones on, earbuds
that would be
in,
disturbing.
so that you don't disturb anybody. So now I'm more cigar centric. So I do a lot of whiskey events with local distilleries here in Dallas. I do, you know, art shows. I do poetry night with Real Spill and his Dallas Poet Society. We do that every second Saturday of the month. People love that, and they've been with me for the last 2.5 years, and it's been working pretty well, and it brings in the right clientele as well. So so that's where some of the music comes in too, because I have comedians, you know, they do sets here, you know. But it's a cosmopolitan of different types of entertainment, you know. But as far as having live music, I love it, but it just didn't work out.
Do you think you'll ever have that bar aspect of the lounge? Liquor license?
Yeah, so when El Jefe Cigars get to a certain point, yes. Because I am in the works of partnering with an investor, you know, that's going to propel El Jefe Cigars to a different level.
Well, I might want to invest.
Right.
We might have to talk.
So it's going to be high end, but it's not. It's still, everyone is invited, because sometimes when you go to these high end cigar lounges, it's like it's a $70, you know, day fee, and it's probably like a $5,000, you know, membership annual. This concept is not going to be like that, but it's going to be panache. It's going to be on. This is the flagship. This right here is the flagship. It'll always be like this, but the concept that we're looking at is going to be high end, like, you know, more like the downtown areas and things like that.
I know you're a BMW lover. You're a BMW guy. Is there such thing as a cars and cigars event, or just an idea of something like that, some kind of event?
So I have talked to.
I go to Cars and Coffee, by the way, around Dallas, and I'm just wondering. I've never seen a cigars and cars.
Well, I am talking to one of my patrons that come here. He has the amount of people that will turn out for that type of event. You know, so if I put certain types of money into that, excuse me, be it food trucks and things like that, excuse me, if I have to put certain monies into it, there has to be certain return. Now, he's the type of person that can bring those types of cars in. So we are talking about doing a BMW, you know, classic to modern type, you know, BMW, because I have the space out there to do it in. You know, my parking lot holds about 66 parking spaces. So
it's a nice parking lot.
I have a huge parking lot. So doing a daytime thing like that, and having fun, El Jefe supplying the cigars out there, having William out there doing the cigar rolling. I think it's gonna happen.
We gotta plan one, man.
Yeah,
I'm
ready for you.
Out.
Yes,
yeah.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I'm ready for you.
Because I see these cars and coffee, and the guys are serving nothing but coffee. I mean, come on, coffee. But it's really the friendships you meet, the camaraderie, networking.
Yes.
And relaxing over coffee or a cigar, and just about building new friendships.
That's the beauty of it. And again, that's what cigar lounges do. Now, having the cigars is good, but the lounge is what really propelled me to do what I do. It's because the people. It's the people. I have been blessed to meet so many people that I call my brothers and sisters. You know. We're family here at El Jefe Cigars. Truly, we're family. And they know that I will do whatever I can to help them out and they are more than willing to help me out in any endeavors that I have. That's just the type of people that I've grown with. And, you know, a lot of those people been with me for the last 3 years, and they still here, you know. They are still here.
That's
and
cool.
I think about them all the time because I could not do what I do without them, and
Well,
they
man,
know it.
I got to tell you,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. And I think we'll close with that.
Awesome.
And I want to mention to you, this is a great choice of a cigar.
I'm
My
glad you
head's not
enjoyed it.
spinning. I'm not
Yes.
dizzy. It's just right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I love how you're building a family, and I have no doubt you're going to grow really big. And Tony, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. I know it's going to inspire a lot of people, and you're going to open a lot of places. And you know,
Thank you.
I may have to get a membership here.
Hey, whenever you're ready. I don't sell them, but you know, I sell them. But
yeah,
you
you're
know.
going to have to work on that, man.
It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to this experience. I appreciate it. I was really excited about doing this.
Well, I can tell. I really
excited.
appreciate that. And any of you people in Dallas or anyone that comes to Dallas to visit, you've got to come out here. You'll be amazed at the
Please,
ambiance,
yes,
how beautiful
yes.
it is. And it'll be a day you'll, I think, always remember. All
Thank
right.
you.
I think the biggest takeaway Tony shared is don't start any business unless you truly understand the business, not just because you have the funds and are able to start that business. Also, he spoke about perseverance. A business is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time for people to know you exist. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you were inspired. I'm Curtis Mohlberg, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.